Welcome, everyone. I am so pleased to have you join me today as I celebrate the release of my debut novel, A Season of Wonder, the first book in the Moorland series. But before we get into the book, I want to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Chantal DeLieu, and for the past 9 years, I have been a ghostwriter writing for USA Today and Irish Times bestselling novelist. I've had 2 films produced from my books, one on the Up Network and one on Hallmark, so I know a little bit about writing a story. Tonight, you're here to join me as we celebrate the story of Mariah and Lucian as they fall in love during 12 days in December. Tonight, I'm going to share some behind-the-scenes inspiration, read from the book so you get to know our characters a little bit better, and a few friends are going to join me as we delve even deeper into the world of Moorland and this story. So sit back and enjoy yourselves as we celebrate A Season of Wonder. Join me now as we enter the world of Moorland. Picture it, 1346, Crécy, France, 9 years into the 100 Years' War. Edward III, a warrior at heart, is on the battlefield, besieged by enemy soldiers, and he's outnumbered. One by one, they attack him, and he's losing. He falters, and moments of his life pass before his eyes. It seems to be the end. Then a sword. A man unexpected by most, disregarded by many, steps in and saves the life of England's king. That man was Amir ibn Rashid al-Moor, the man who will become known as the Duke of Moreland. That is how our world begins. One Moor's act of bravery changed the face of the world. Now, step further into 1812. Maria Moreland, his descendant, is lonely at Windermere House. Her mother is gone, her brother is away, and she's left with nothing but sorrow. Then enters Lucian Ashcombe with a gift that changes everything. Join me now as I read a scene from A Season of Wonder. He was leaving her. Her mother had always said that truth would set one free, but truth could also wound. For a few fleeting hours, Maria had dared to imagine that Lucian might remain at Windermere, that there might be more days at their laughter on the pond, more moments in which she was not utterly alone. But the reality of his brother's illness, his father's summons, and Lucian's inevitable departure had shattered that hope, and with the truth came a sharp sorrow than she expected. Why had she let herself hope? Tears gathered as she sat at her dressing table preparing for the day. She had wept through most of the night, her eyes were swollen and tender. Yet still she felt more tears threatening. She brushed them away and drew a steadying breath. "You cannot allow Lucian's leaving to unmake you," she admonished silently. "He was never meant to be here at all. Felix was supposed to come, no one else." Lucian's visit was nothing more than circumstance. She repeated the words, but deep within, something refused to agree. She could not, must not, listen to that inner voice. Lucian had a life, a family, and obligations far greater weight than Christmas at Windermere. Once his brother recovered, he would return to Haiti, and they would never meet again. She must put him and all that had awakened in her firmly out of mind. How strange it was that in only a handful of days, everything within her had changed. When he arrived, she had wanted nothing more than for him to leave, and now she wept over the thought of losing him. She had written until dawn, emptying her heart onto the crisp pages of his journal. She had no strength left to write more. She had not eaten, unable to bear sitting across from him at breakfast and pretending indifference. And yet her room no longer soothed her. It felt closing, stifling. She needed air. Stepping out, she nearly collided with her aunt. "Where are you headed?" Lady Antonia asked gently. "To the gardens," Maria replied. "The house feels too confined. Fresh air might help." "But the snow has started again," her aunt warned. "Jasper believes another storm is coming." Maria's breath hitched. "Another storm?" Her aunt nodded with knowing emphasis. "He is rarely wrong, which means," she added softly, her eyes sparkling with just a trace of mischief, "Lucian may have to stay with us a little longer." Maria's heart leapt, and she yanked it sharply back in place. "That is unfortunate." Lady Antonia raised a brow. "Unfortunate?" "His family needs him. His brother's condition." Her aunt smiled, a smile far more perceptive. "Yes, but we would never send him out when travel is unsafe, no matter the urgency." Maria's face felt warm. She knows. She must know. "I should take my walk before the snow worsens." "Do," her aunt said, still smiling, before drifting upstairs. Maria wrapped herself in her cloak, pulled up her hood, and stepped into the cold. She walked without purpose, letting her feet decide her direction. When she finally looked up, she stood before the chapel. Warm light glowed through the slightly open door. Had the vicar returned again? Curiosity tugged her forward. She nudged the door wider and froze. Lucian knelt alone before the altar rail, head bowed. She lingered in the doorway, torn between intrusion and longing. He carried so much, far more than he had spoken aloud. She wanted to comfort him, but what could she offer? Still, she stepped inside softly, taking care not to disturb him, and slipped into a pew halfway up the aisle. What burdens his heart that he hasn't spoken? Could he possibly feel? No. Mariah, do not allow yourself such thoughts. Lucian Ashcombe would no sooner think of you than he would think of your aunt. Whatever you feel is yours alone. She bowed her head. Lord, my heart feels what it should not. Why allow it only to take it away? When she lifted her eyes, Lucian was standing. He turned, and their gazes held across the quiet chapel. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he walked toward her and paused at the aisle just beside her. What brings you to the chapel, Lady Mariah? Her name on his lips set her heart fluttering, yet the formal address stung faintly. I am not entirely sure, she admitted. I went for a walk and found myself here. When I saw the light, I came in. I hope I did not intrude. How could you intrude in your own chapel? He said gently. I am the guest here. You are family, she murmured. At least, that is what my aunt always says. A faint smile curved his mouth. And do you not usually dismiss that? Mariah blushed. Things can change. They can, he agreed, but some things cannot. He lowered himself into the pew before her. She wished desperately to understand him. What could change and what could not? Her own heart had changed irrevocably. Must it simply return to its former loneliness? She stared toward the altar, where the light refracted through the stained glass in soft rainbows. I needed to breathe, she said quietly. I needed to breathe, and I ended up here. Lucian shifted, sliding slightly along the pew so he could see her more clearly. There was concern in his eyes, warm, steady concern that made her chest tighten. Silence settled before Mariah could hold her thoughts any longer. Do you know, she whispered, that day on the pond was the first time I have laughed in months? Since Mother died, there has been few causes for joy. Her breath shuddered. And then you came. And suddenly, unexpectedly, laughter returned. She hesitated. May I tell you something, Lucian? You may tell me anything. Sometimes I feel forgotten. The words trembled out of her. I have lived my whole life between Moorland Hall and Windermere House. My mother was my world. I had little society. I still do. You were one of the few allowed into my life as a child, though I hardly appreciated you then. She tried to laugh, but emotion swallowed it. My father has never been there for me. My mother was, and then she... Her voice broke. Felix has been gone for so long. I know he must fulfill his duties, but knowing that does not lessen how much I miss him. Her tears fell freely now. She wiped at them, ashamed, unable to meet Lucian's gaze. His voice was soft, certain. You are not forgotten, Mariah. She looked up, and in his eyes she saw it, compassion, understanding, and something deeper she dared not name. Before she could speak, he rose, placed a warm hand gently over hers on the pew, and leaned down. He pressed a soft, reverent kiss to her forehead. Her eyes fluttered close at the touch. Peace washed over her, the first true peace she had felt in months. His hand steadied hers, warm and sure. Her heart raced beneath the stillness. It was only a moment, but it felt far longer. When he straightened, hesitation flickered in his gaze. If Felix were here, he said quietly, I believe that is what he would have done. A breath caught in her throat. He remembered. Felix had kissed her forehead whenever she was frightened or hurt. She had forgotten, but now the memory returned with piercing clarity. Yet Lucian's kiss was not the same. It carried something deeper, something unspoken. Lucian, don't abandon me. The words escaped before she could stop them. His eyes lowered. He sat again, but his posture went taut, his gaze fixed ahead. You deserve comfort, Mariah, he said quietly. You deserve someone to stand with you. One day, that person will appear. The moment, whatever it had been, was gone. Mariah inhaled shakily, rose to her feet, and walked out in silence. She had found her breath. Now she must return to reality. Welcome back, everyone. I am so pleased to have with me right here to celebrate the launch of my novella, my friends, John Fulgence and Jennifer Hyland. Say hello to everybody.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Joan and Jen, I gave you both advance copies of the book. So my first question is, what was your favorite part?
So can I get into character here?
Of course.
Lady DeLieu. Lady Hyland. Lady Fulgence.
Lady Fulgence, yes.
All right. So my favorite part of the book, or the favorite part or character, I should say, is Auntie Antonia. Yes. I love her character, and I love the fact that the book actually is nostalgic and brings you into what you're actually reading, and that's one of the favorite parts of the book for me. In fact, I love the book in its entirety. So
I'm so happy to hear you say that.
Don't think that it's just one part and not the other.
And Jennifer?
Well, I have so many favorites parts of this book. And I must tell you, when this book was given to me, this book, I could not put it down. I could not put it down. I mean, if I can put tapes on my eyes to just keep my eyes open to read. This book is beautiful. The storyline is amazing. It's full of romance, intrigue, witty. But I have a favorite part, well, actually two. My favorite part, and I was so happy to see one of the Caribbean islands being highlighted in this book when Lady Antoine was telling Lucien, because he's from Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this is not verbatim, but she was actually saying to him, I hope that, because they were going to the vicar to church.
They were going to the chapel for Christmas morning, yeah.
And she was saying, I hope that you're not bringing the island, chance. Because the vicar would obviously pass out.
Yeah. You'd have heard it. He has a weak heart.
Yes. So, it's all British and proper. Mm-hmm. And she didn't want to be, the Haitian chance. And she was like, I hope you're not bringing that. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. She patted him lightly on the back. Well, that's about it. I found that to be witty and very funny, the way how it was portrayed. Actually, you have to read it to get the full feeling of it. The second favorite part of the book occurred between Lucien and
Mariah,
because she did not like him. Mm-hmm. And you'll read why she didn't like him. And what happened was they discovered that they had something in common, and you'll discover what that was. Mm-hmm. And they found out that they have a shared love, and that kind of, disarmed Mariah. Mm-hmm. Because he was warm to her, but she wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so that shared love, that shared thing broke the ice. And that was that transition. Yes, I was like, come on, girl, come on. Be nice. And I was like, oh, they have something in common, and that really broke the ice. So that was my second favorite part.
That's great. And that just now when you say be nice, I thought of Lady Antonia telling her to behave herself. Lucien is a guest.
So, Chantal DeLieu. When I was reading this book, I was so immersed that I found myself speaking British and trying to speak like Lady Antoine, and then it was shifting.
That is not a problem there. That's not a problem at all.
And then it was shifting, to Lady Antoine because she was, as you said, she was soft, and I shifted because I was reading out loud. I was like, girl, you're really into this book.
It enthralled you.
Yes.
So, Chantal DeLieu.
Yes.
My first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On your debut book. I am actually looking forward for the follow-ups. Now, my question to you is, what was your inspiration behind this book?
The inspiration for A Season of Wonder actually came from the next book in the series, Hearts Reawakened. I would have been 21. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had this dream. It was so vivid. It was like watching a movie, and I was Mariah in the dream. So I was seeing Lucien, I was seeing her friends Marianne, I was seeing all these different characters, and I was living out this encounter of this young woman who her first words in the dream were, "A good death is better than marriage." And I was like, okay, what is this? And it took me a long time to actually develop the story, because it's a lot of world building. But then the story of how they got there came about. How did Lucian and Mariah first meet? Why is it that she's starting this story with such a stance? And Season of Wonder didn't actually begin how it is. At first, her mother's death was not as large a part. It was really about their encounter. She's alone. But as I wrote it and I began to feel what she's feeling, more of that grief started to come through and that transformation. And that's one thing with my books. They're transformative. The characters don't stay the same, but neither do you.
Well, that leads me to this question then. How does the novella tie to the broader Moreland saga? How did you get all of that?
That sets you up, because they're grounding characters. Their romance is going to be interwoven through all the stories that are told in the saga. And right now the saga is at 9 books that I've already have the ideas for. Some of them have been fully outlined already. Some of them I've actually started writing. But their story changes the entire nation, because they're both from 2 very powerful families that are the backbones of British society in my reimagined world. And they were always sort of running simultaneously side by side, but then you're uniting them under one banner through Lucian and Mariah. So that's going to change the entire dynamic, how the crown sees them, because right now they're an aid to the crown, but what's going to happen when they're more powerful than the crown? So there's a lot going on. I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but there's a lot that their romance does to the universe of Moreland.
No spoilers.
So, Lady DeLieu, I recognize that in your reading, you read chapter 11. Is this your favorite chapter? Is this the one that touched your heart? Let us know.
Oh, chapter 11 was one of those chapters where you cried when you wrote it. And I had more than one of those writing this novella, but that one really got to me, because you really felt the tension between them, that they want to come together, but they can't. You know, Mariah has finally come out of this place of mourning, and she's seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and it leads to Lucian, and Lucian feels it too, but Lucian can't reciprocate. He doesn't believe he can. And you can feel that between them. You can feel that loss, because she's like, it was her breath. Literally, she found the breath. He was the breath. She was in that chapel with him, and she found breath. And then it was over. Yeah. And she had to return to the sorrow that she started with. So it was one of my favorite chapters to write. It really gets to me. It really gets to me. In writing it, I did cry probably more than once while writing it.
In the beginning, she didn't want him there.
And then she wanted him there, and he had to leave. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that he even wants to leave, it's that he has to leave. And that's the hard part. When you want something, but the right thing means you have to deny that desire. And that was really hard for both of them in that scene. But it gets better for them. So further in the book.
This emotion. Oh my gosh. So I have a question, because all this emotional storytelling, how do you balance this historical accuracy and intertwine it with all of this emotion that's happening, and just keeping the accuracy of historical events that would have happened?
Oh, I start with the characters. My characters are always the first. Anytime I'm writing, they're the first thing that comes to mind. I step into who they are and their world, and I'm feeling how they're feeling, and I'm expressing that. And then afterwards, because I'm a lover of history, first of all. Mm-hmm. So certain historical facts are just embedded in me naturally. But then when I go back on to revise the book, then I make sure we elevate those elements so you get immersed into the book. Because I want, when you read it, you go into a world like as if you're sitting down in the middle of it, watching it with your popcorn and your drink, and you are living that moment out. And the accuracy grounds everything because it brings you into a world that could actually be. It's not fantasy. This could actually have happened. And so that's how I balance the character first, and then we bring the world in around them.
So, Lady DeLieu, I just love that name. You publish under Myrtle Tree House. Tell us a little bit more about this publishing company.
Myrtle Tree Publishing is actually my publishing company. I am the founder. It is all been in operation officially from November 2025. And it is a publishing house for Christian authors who have stories that God has given them to share and divine wisdom that needs to be shared with the world. I help authors with their book coaching. I help them with their editing, revision. And if they want to sign on as a partner and an author of Myrtle Tree Publishing, then they join a family of authors. And I will specify this: to publish with Myrtle Tree Publishing under my imprint, it's only for women authors. And I know that might seem a little unfair to some people, but what the Lord spoke to me about this publishing company is it's to foster a community where women can encourage each other, can share with one another, and grow, helping one another as we go about this journey of telling the stories that He's given us. There are stories out there of women who have gone through immense struggles, and God has brought them out, and He wants those stories told. And I'm very, very privileged to have been a voice that He would use to do that. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. In your introduction, when we were watching, you said, you're a ghostwriter. And I mean, when I first learned that your stories that you wrote were featured on Hallmark, and I was like, wow, this talented. I mean, that's awesome. And this book to me is a Netflix, this series, because while I was reading, I was actually picturing myself watching this, like the other popular, period piece, which I don't mention the name. I'm not giving any. But this is on par, and the quality of the writing is so rich and so, it flows. There's no guessing. Sometimes you can even, I think I know where the story is going, but then there's a little twist happening here and there, so I can really see that happening, and that's awesome. What was the feeling like when you were told that you realized that your book that you go through that book? Yeah, that it made Hallmark.
Oh, I was actually sitting down at Cafe 195 in Warrens with a friend, and I was working on another project. And for me, as a ghostwriter, most authors do not want me to actually know their real names. But the Lord always reveals them to me, so I know who it is. So I happened to go on her IMDb page, and there I saw the title of the book I wrote having been released the year before. At Christmas, I had no idea. I screamed at the table. I was so thrilled. I could not believe it. And then this year, I went back on her IMDb page and realized another book had been purchased and made into a movie. And I said, I worked with her. She is an Irish Times and USA Today bestselling author. And I worked with her for 5 years. So when I saw that, I was like, this is amazing. And I'm going to keep checking her IMDb page to see if any more of the books I wrote for her end up as films. That was
awesome.
Exciting.
That is really, it shows how talented you are. The quality of work that you do, so the value.
It was very exciting. She was actually my second client when I started ghostwriting, and we stayed together for, I think it was about 5 years. Yes, 5 years in total. And I probably wrote about 9 titles for her in that period of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a role for Lady Highland? Those like Netflix.
A role for Lady Highland?
I can do a surprise,
A surprise appearance.
Series.
Oh, we definitely have some. I can see you amongst the ton.
You can dream. training.
So what can we expect in the future from Myrtle Tree Publishing?
Oh, Myrtle Tree Publishing has already a lineup for 2026. There will be Chantal DeLieu's books, which are multi-ethnic, historical, clean romances. Then there's going to be books by Alice Isles, which are traditional Regency period books. But we're also going to be publishing a children's book by Dr. Suzelle Lowe, and a poetry book by who's becoming quite a dear friend of mine, Sharifa Francis. She's publishing her first chapbook with us, which is very exciting. So if you're into poetry, you need to look out for that. And we'll actually be getting 2 books from Chantal DeLieu in 2026, but you'll have to wait to hear which titles those will be. But Hearts Reawakened will be the first one.
Okay. So we have been hearing a lot about this book for the entire time we've been here. So for those persons who are watching, where can we get this book? How much does it cost us? Is there a special introduction? I mean, because we want to know where we can get this book. When is it going to be printed, like physical copies? Because I've got mine on my Kindle. I would love to be able to turn the pages and write and stuff like that. So,
well, the book is available now on Amazon. It's for $2.99. You can get it on ebook at the moment, and the paperback will be launching on December 24th. So that is Christmas Eve. You can give yourself a special gift, the gift of A Season of Wonder on paperback. And speaking of which, I'll take this time now to announce a very special prize right now for one lucky participant who signed up to join me and my friends here for this launch celebration. Tamisha Linton, you have won yourself a signed copy of A Season of Wonder, a special gift from me to you for thanking you for participating in this launch and just being a wonderful person to be here. I thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone here, both Joan and Jennifer, for being here with me, and to every one of you who attended. It means so much that you participated. It really is so wonderful to have you here with me on this very special day as I celebrate my first of what will be, in Jesus' name, many books. So thank you so much, and I hope that you have a season of wonder this Christmas. God bless.
We want to say a hearty congratulations to you on your debut book, A Season of Wonder. And we are especially elated right now and happy for you that all of this has come together. And we are so happy. We're looking forward, of course, to the next series. We're looking forward for Netflix. We're looking forward for Prime Video.
Yes.
We're looking forward for all those everything.
Yes.
You know, on those
Receive
platforms
that.
to make this a series and for it to continue. And we want to thank Jennifer for putting this together, for all the other persons who put this together, and to you, the author, Lady DeLieu. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for joining
And
us.
thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.